Hello.
Hello, Councillor Singh. How are you?
Good. So first of all, I apologize. I'm actually in Ottawa. I don't know if Rupinder said I left in the morning. We had a emergency issue we're dealing with in the community, so I had to come
Yeah.
here.
Well, she just called us and let us know. So
yeah, I apologize.
you are wonderful for jumping on despite that. So thank you.
Of course. I didn't want to miss it. I was like, I just felt bad. I forgot. I didn't see it in the calendar. But anyways, I'm on now. And is everything okay? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. Okay. And I can see you. It was chipping out, but we're going to make do. We're going to make do. Okay. And I honestly appreciate the time. It's nice to formally meet you. My name is Lori Samuel. I'm the founder and director of Cupids nonprofit. And with me is my team, two members of my team. I have Dr. Neha Gutkar and Miss Kimberly Richards. I'm not sure if you can see based on, on the phone. But I know you're busy and I really appreciate the time. But we are a team and we're trying to help women in Peel as it relates to domestic violence. So Cupids Sting is a women's safety nonprofit. So we facilitate self-defense classes and workshops on domestic violence and dating abuse. And our mission is to teach women life-saving skills to protect themselves inside and outside the home. And essentially the end goal for all of this work is healthy relationships, in turn, a healthy community. But what we are facing, like many nonprofits right now, is the fact that we're having to pivot. We're not able to do our programming in person and doing everything virtually now. And what we're trying to do is really build some partnerships, have others introduce us to people in the community so that people know that we're here as a resource. So that's why I wanted to meet you. And I just really wanted to know a little bit about you and hear what you're working on as well.
Yeah, so first of all, I think that's amazing what you're working on. It's definitely a big issue that I deal with and dealt with. I used to be the school board trustee as well. So unhealthy relationships, and then, going from there to all the way to assaults. Like at the school board, I dealt with the whole pendulum. So, there's a lot of issues around that. But right now, obviously with COVID, just like you're saying, you've had to pivot, we've had to focus our attention on some critical things like making sure people have access to healthcare, hospital capacity, all that. But I think there's a sense of optimism at City Hall now that within, early next year to mid next year, we should be as business back to normal. What that normal looks like, it's tough to tell.
Right.
So right now, obviously, we're more focused on just budgets, not raising property tax, stuff like that. But, ironically, because I keep a close tab with our partners at Peel Police, I know one of their concerns where they contacted me early in the summer was the rise in cases of domestic violence, right? With COVID, because of, you're just staying at home all day. Yeah. And whether it's regarding children or women and spouses, it's definitely been an eye-opener for me. It's some of the cases I've had to deal with were rather quite unfortunate.
Right. Yeah, Peel, I live in Brampton, so I am a Brampton resident. And Peel, it's just, I've kind of like trying to take up this mantle and really focus on Peel because the numbers are incredible. Like when you look at the homicides over last year, half or domestic violence related, that's really large, especially when you look at the universe of cases, even in the United States, you will see at least some different motives. So I'm really trying to be proactive and prepare women and teach women, because I think sometimes maybe people don't even know what violence or domestic violence, like what the definition of that is. Know that, somebody doesn't have the right to violate you just because they're married to you, you're not their property. So one of the things I was hoping that perhaps if somebody comes to your office and needs some assistance, that perhaps Cupid Sting could be a resource of somebody that, you know, people could reach out to, because, you know, we have a website and some extensive programming. And right now I'm putting out, you know, fact sheets and webinars just so that people understand the phenomenon of domestic violence and know that we are here to help.
Yeah. And I think, like, I didn't know you were out there. Obviously, it's wonderful that we're meeting, but it's something definitely I would be very inclined to do. And I can tell you, we get a lot of people reaching out to my office. A lot of that is around the fact that my campaigns have a lot of young people. And so they feel that connection, obviously. And then, you know, through their volunteering, and you get close in a campaign setting, you know, these things do come out.
Absolutely. So they share. Councilman Singh, I did have one additional question, and if any of you ladies have a question. So, of course, one of the pinches that we're feeling, of course, is funding. We've been applying for grants. Right now, I'm running the organization with my personal funds, and I wanted to know if you know of any organizations or of any funding that the city is providing that could assist us in continuing our programming.
I would have to explore that. I know predominant funding for social services is through the region, obviously, which I'm pretty sure you know as well, because their social services are with them. But I can look if they're doing anything specific for COVID, especially.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Good. So what I'm going to do, we are going to send your assistant all the information on Cupid Sting website, social media, some of our fact sheets that you could share with people if they ever call and need some help. And I don't want to take up too much more of your time, because I know that you are walking on the street. I hope your coffee's good.
That's okay. This is an important conversation.
Yeah,
I just don't know how it happened on the same day, but I had to come down with it. Yeah.
So before we go, I know one of the things that Neha shared with me, your work with the school board. One of the populations that we're also focusing on, young people, and I mean very young, because what we're seeing with the numbers is that young people are dating very early, and I mean like 7 and 8, and getting involved in some of these incidents. Are you familiar with that? Did you see that in your work?
Yeah, especially the unhealthy relationships, consent issues, you know, from, you know, some of the cases, I can be honestly, even family members, you know, starting grade 7, 8, and really becoming major issues in high schools, right? Especially around consent, I find.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know, I know some of the other school boards in the GTA, it's a little easier to work with the schools. So how easy or hard would it be to work with Peel to introduce some of the programming that Cupid Sting offers?
It depends what kind of, how the relationship looks, right? Is it Cupid just coming in and running workshops? Or are we looking for financial assistance from the school board? Like, it would depend on that. And then a lot of it honestly depends on the principals, right? Like the PL District School Board works in a way where principals are the masters of their territory.
Okay,
and,
good.
They're the main gatekeeper in and out.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Something that we can note for the future.
Yeah. You can always email the principals. It's always, you can find their names on the website, and their email is always firstname.lastname@plsb.com. And they'll never put that up, but I'm just letting you know. So, and you should definitely email them, and email the trustees as well. I'd say the principal has the most influence, and then the trustee after that.
Okay. And then what about the BIAs? Do you work closely with the Brampton?
No,
BIA?
because they're not in my area. That's a different counselors.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're focused more on the downtown Brampton businesses.
Okay. Well, I really hope that in the future, if you have any programming, any webinars, if you're able to you know, have us on to talk to your constituents. We would love to. Again, the point is that we just want to get the information out so that people know, you know, recognize Cupid's Sting, recognize what we do, and just so we can really, really reduce some of these numbers. Because unfortunately, with this second, I mean, it's a softer lockdown, if you want to look at it that way. The stressors are still there, right? Being inside.
And the need is actually more, so.
Absolutely. And to do it safely. So again, I think a lot of times, instead of saying, you know, we're running a workshop on domestic violence or abuse, you know, we're going to talk about, you know, relationships, you know, how are things going while you're at home during COVID, you know, let's talk about some of these ongoing issues. So, I mean, I think couching it that way certainly makes it a little easier for people to come forward, and which is what we want. So, well, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Laurie. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Call me Laurie. It's fine. I appreciate it. I hope when you get back to Brampton, we can do this again and maybe speak a little bit more in depth.
Yeah, what we could aim to do is honestly, you know, because we'll probably be returning in the new year, we can look at doing an in-person meeting by then, hopefully, with the restrictions.
Okay, sounds good. I look forward to that. Thank you for your time in Ottawa.
Yeah. I'll be back tonight. We left at 7 in the morning. It's just a one-day thing.
Okay.
But, thank you so much, and you know, sorry about the earlier
no problem.
And I'm always here. Okay.
Okay. Take care. Okay. Thanks. Nice meeting
you. And thank you to everybody else. Thank you so much.
Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. Bye.
Hold on. Let me stop the recording.